Thank you all for coming to this fall fireside chat. Our panelists can't wait to meet you. Tis the season of Halloween, so we have our Halloween fireside chat edition. We'll have some not so spooky campfire stories, and we'll have a few questions that we'll have to ask you. So let's get started so you can meet our panelists.
Hello, I am Jeff. I'm a junior from Chicago, Illinois, and I attended MOP this past summer, and I've always been involved in the AMC series. So I took my first AMC 10 in 6th grade. Then I qualified for the AME in 8th grade. I took the USA JMO in 8th and 9th, and then I finally took the USMO in 10th grade. And I guess I also have done some other competitions. So I've done Math Counts Nationals. I've also done like some college competitions and local competitions. So one thing that motivates me to participate in math competitions is I love to solve difficult problems, and I also like to meet new people, and math competitions provide both of them. Okay, so next on to Andrew.
Oh yeah, hello everyone. I'm Andrew Wen. I'm a junior from California. I attended MOP this past summer and was an alternate for the 2021 Canadian IMO team. Throughout the past 5 years, I've been an avid participant in the AMC contest series, all the way from the AMC 10, the AMC 12, AME, USMO, and also finally MOP, as well as other competitions such as math counts and college contests such as HMT. Oops, I'm getting a call. Yeah, HMT, Princeton University Math Contest, and also last but not least, also RMOL. My favorite part of competing in these competitions is actually just meeting up with friends I've made from past competitions. So yeah. Passing it on to Ram now.
All right, hey everyone, my name is Ram. I'm an 11th grader from Oregon, and I'm really excited to be here. I attended MOP this past summer, which is a camp that's organized by the MAA. It's pretty high up on the MAA AMC track of competitions. And I also did a bunch of competitions in middle school, like math counts, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. I'm sure the age range of our audience today must include a lot of middle schoolers. So math counts was also something I was definitely involved in, getting top 12 at nationals and getting pretty far in that. And that really inspired me to continue working on the AMC track. And I'm really excited to be here today to pass on some of my experience, knowledge, fun stuff to you guys. And hopefully that inspires you to continue on the AMC track as well. And let's pass it on to Caroline.
Hi everyone, my name is Caroline and I'm a junior from New Jersey. I also attended MOP this past summer and I've participated in the AMC for the past 4 years. In 7th grade, I did only AMC 8 and then 8th grade 8 and 10. I've also done math counts in 8th grade and some other college competitions like PUMAC, HMMC, and CMIMC since 9th grade. It's been really fun to solve these problems and I like challenging myself and meeting new people. I've really enjoyed this journey. So now passing it on to Lucy.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucy. I'm a high school senior. I'm in New Hampshire right now, but I'm originally from Chengdu, China. And I've been attending MOP for the past 2 years, and I did my first AMC in 8th grade when I first came to the US. One of my earliest memory of math was me begging my grandma for a set of pink set squares. Unfortunately, even though I threw a tantrum at her, she still didn't get it for me, so I still blame her to this day that my weakest subject is geo. So I'll pass it back to Maryam.
Hi guys, I'm Maryam. I'm the MAA AMC Coordinator. I'm calling in from Michigan. And just like you guys, I'm so excited about this Halloween edition panelists, and I can't wait to hear more about them. So we're gonna go ahead and get started and dig deeper. We're gonna start our campfire stories. And so we're gonna have our first subtle transition that's not so subtle at all to get us hyped up for the first campfire story we have. And first up is Ram. So Ram has 3 photos up. We're gonna send out a poll where you can choose which photo you'd like to hear. So each photo has a story and Ram is excited to share. So we're gonna send out a poll in a second and you can vote for which story you'd like to hear.
right, number 3 is gaining a lot of traction, just as I expected. But we're still waiting on a few votes. Number 3 is the clear winner, I think. Okay, yeah, I think I can just get started because there's no way number 1 or 2 are overtaking this. Yeah, so number 3 is a pretty interesting story. It's actually not something you guys should do, which is sleeping during math class. So actually, it's a little more serious than that. So I want to tell you guys about some opportunities that you can consider outside of pure competition. So competitions were a great way for me in middle school and throughout high school to get into math. It's a great way to have goals and ways to improve that at them directly. But there are also opportunities outside competitions. Competitions can feel isolating at times. You're just working on your own a lot. So there are opportunities such as summer camps, which are really great opportunities where you can meet other people who are also interested in math, not always from a competition side, but also from a general math standpoint. So this particular picture was taken of me by my friend during Canada-USA Math Camp, which is a really great summer camp that I attended a couple years ago. I'm just gonna mute someone there. Okay, yeah. So this was at Canada-USA Math Camp. There are many camps that you guys can attend. This one's mainly geared towards high schoolers, but things like Math Path, Awesome Math. Awesome Math is more towards the competition side, so that would fit right into AMC and things like that. So this picture was kind of a fun way to get for me to introduce those opportunities to you guys, because I'm sure this was going to get a lot of votes. But yeah, this was taken by my friend Paul. Shout out to Paul if you're here, who also attended MOP this summer. And he took a picture of me while I was sleeping in class, because this was the last week of class and I was a little tired. But yeah, the point is the opportunity was really great. This wasn't my entire experience at math camp. I learned a lot, and most importantly, I met a lot of people who are also into math, or who I've stayed in contact with to this day. And this was 2 years ago almost. So actually more than 2 years ago. So this is a really great set of opportunities. Camps, math camp, Canada USA Math Camp is for high schoolers. There are things like Awesome Math, competition based throughout high school that you can attend, middle school as well. Math Path, there are much more that you can attend, and this is an example of that, and I just want to tell you guys about that. So outside of competitions, there are many ways to connect with other peers, and they're really, really fun experiences. But yeah, I'll end it with that.
Thanks for sharing, Ram. So our next campfire short story is gonna be from Lucy. And so you guys can go ahead, we'll have a poll sent out, and we have 3 photo options, so choose which story you'd like to hear from Lucy.
Wow, I didn't expect number 2 to be overwhelmingly popular. So, okay, I'll end the poll here. As you can see, in number 2, we have Alice from Adventureland and Bob the Builder. So what are they doing? Actually, they're doing quantum computing. So what is quantum computing? I know the term sounds very confusing. It might remind you of physics, computer science, or maybe also engineering, but it's also math. So this summer, I did a project in RSI, which is the Research Science Institute, in the project in quantum computing. So in my project, I learned a lot about quantum computing, and quantum computing is about quantum bit, where like a quantum bit is sort of somewhere between 0 and 1 instead of just 0 or 1. So here, if Alice sends Bob some information, then it's very difficult for Bob to know what she's communicating. So here, Alice tries to send him 3 times of the same signal, and then Bob wants to distinguish these signals. And my project is about whether or not an adaptive strategy is helpful. So when Bob knows that 3 of the consecutive signals are the same, so he might try to make a small measurement on one and move on to the next. And according to his next measurement, he might come back to the previous signal. So my conclusion was that no matter no matter how we use this adaptive strategy, it's not helpful for any quantum signals in arbitrary dimensions. So that's pretty interesting. So you can see like math can help Alice and Bob communicate.
Thanks for sharing, Lucy. That's very cool to hear about. I can't wait to pick your brain about that later. And so we're moving on to our third short campfire story from Caroline. And so we'll be having a poll sent out where you can choose which story you'd like to hear from Caroline.
It's a little bit of a close race, so I'll give a few more seconds to get more opinion. Okay, number 2 is the winner.
Yeah, okay. So basically in 4th grade, my parents sent me to go to school in China because they wanted me to learn Mandarin. And turns out it actually ended up making me like math instead. So I first learned about the existence of competitive math in 4th grade, but like I didn't really take it seriously until 7th grade when, like, after encouragement from my teacher and my mom just signed me up for AMCs. You can't actually take them in China. And like I did better than expected. So I was like, wow, interesting. And then like it was really after that like in 8th grade, I started to take competitive math seriously. This is just a random picture from like 4th grade. So yeah, I feel like my experience in China really just like kind of shaped who I am. It also like changed me as a person. And yeah, it like really helped me develop an interest in math. So
Thanks for sharing, Caroline. It's so cool to hear that you didn't expect to do well, but look at where you are now. So I think that's a really inspiring journey and story to share. So we're going to have our subtly transition to our next section of spectrum questions. So basically, our panelists want to hear more from you and hear about your experiences and your stories. Just because we have a lot of people, it might be hard to individually ask all of you guys. So we decided that each of the panelists will ask one question to you. And so this is where your pens and papers will come in handy. So for these questions, we'll have a range of answers. You'll write down the letter of which answer you'd like and write that on your paper and hold it up to your screen. So you can turn your cameras on for this, or we'll also be doing a poll, but we'd love to see your faces and we'd love to see the answers that you write down. And it'll make a lot more sense as we continue. So we'll start off with a quick practice round for the spectrum questions. Do you understand what you're supposed to do? A, no, I'm still very confused. I have no idea what's going on. B, yes, let's go. C, wait, what's going on? And D, boo. So write down your answer, show it up to the screen, or you can write it in chat or write it in the poll, your answer. So let's see some B's. Wow, I saw a boo. But okay, it looks like you guys got the hang of it. So we'll move on to our real round of spectrum questions. Our first question's from Caroline.
I did A. No, felt natural. It was.
Okay, so I see most people chose A. I would actually go with D. So like I said, when I was in China, right? At first, like I was pretty behind on math. And on the first test, I got like a 40%. And because everybody else was like so far ahead of me, I just like was kind of turned away and just like maybe did a few competitions here and there because everybody was doing them. But like it was really encouragement that like really got me to start. So I definitely struggled a lot, and over time it became more natural.
Nice. Okay, so we'll move on. Jeff also has a question that he'd like to ask.
Yeah, so hi, my question is how many hours of the week do you spend on math? And so there are 5 options from 1 to 3 hours, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 20, and more than 20 hours. It's like, so someone asked, is this like only outside of school or in general? I guess like this is in general, like how much math do you do? Okay, so it looks like we have a pretty variable result, but the most is C, so 7 to 9 hours. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like for me, I spend around 15 hours per week on math, I'd say. So school definitely takes a ton of time, and you have to like find a good balance between how much math you do per week and how much time you have to focus on school. So for example, during most school days, I don't have that much time because I have to focus on my homework, which is why during the weekend, I usually try to do as much math as possible. But there's also like, in my free time, like when I don't have anything to do, or I'm like, if I'm watching classes or I'm not really paying attention to my class, I might sometimes just think about a math problem or just attempt to solve one in that space of time because I try to do as much math as possible because it's a very fun subject. So I guess it's also like quite important on like how you use the time you spend on math. So for example, you could say like you did like 100 hours of math a day, but the 100 hours you might be like texting your friends, going on social media, that kind of thing. And that might not be as good as someone who just spends like 5 hours of math on a week, but uses that time extremely focused and like is not distracted and such. So looking at the efficiency of the hours of math you do is also a good metric and not just how much you do. Yeah.
Okay, and so move on to our third question from Lucy.
So my question for everyone is, what subject in math do you like learning about the most? It's time to get in a fight. So A, we have algebra, geometry. Ew, I'm kidding. Geometry is very elegant. Then we have counting and probability, number theory, applied math, and pure math and research math. Feel free to hold your answer up, so I want to see your personal response. Ooh, someone choosing B/E, getting both. Okay. I see most people chose A, but I personally love combo. So I'm actually taking a math elective on combo right now. So in last week, we're learning about Bernoulli's number and generating function, which is super fun. And actually, I have the math book right here with me. It's a fantastic book about combinatorics. And yeah, so Bernoulli's number, it will help you solve problems such as what's the sum of 1 to the r plus 2 to the r plus 3 to the r to n to the r. So really fun, unexpected, but very elegant. And also just the idea of pigeonholes principle, the most used principle, but it's so easy to understand, so intuitive, yet it's so useful. So that's why I love combinatorics.
Nice. Okay. So we have our next question from Andrew.
Yeah, so we'll give you guys a little bit of time to sort of choose your options. I'm seeing a lot of A, which is good, which is what we like to see. Oh no, the B's, C's, oh no, okay. Yeah, there were a lot of A's in the beginning, but now there's a little more B and C, which I understand. All right, let's see.
Sound like a parent looking at a report card.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Now we're getting some B's and C's.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
The poll is over. So the majority is still A, which nice. For me, for me personally, I think I'll pick A. I'm definitely going to stay in the math contest community after I graduate from high school. Honestly, there's not that many competitions I can still go to aside from Putnam, which I definitely intend on participating in. I think the main way I'll stay involved is, I guess, writing problems for different types of competitions, such as maybe I'll try to propose a problem to the AMCs, the AME, if I'm feeling especially ambitious, maybe even the USMO. But yeah, for me, I've like already started making problems, and I already help participate and run many sort of my own competitions. You can find some of them in AOPS if you really look hard. There's one of the rather big competitions I run is called NICE. I forgot what the abbreviation is for, but it's just NICE. It's definitely up there in the AOPS contests and programs forum. So if you find it, you'll know that I perhaps helped write some of the problems for that contest. And yeah, so yeah, for me, in summary, yes, I'm definitely going to continue being part of the math contest community, and I'll probably do this by proposing problems for competitions.
Okay, and we're off to our last question from our last panelist.
So yeah, my question is, how big is your in real life, so that means, you know, not online, not in AOPS, math community? So this can mean a lot of things, but why don't we get some answers in and then I'll talk about that. Okay, we're getting a pretty even mix. Wow, a lot of people are saying 20 plus people. That's surprising. Okay, and we also have a lot of people who are saying it's just me. Okay, I mean, maybe I can talk about this now. So it's actually decently even. Nothing stands out too much. So the math community, it means a lot of things. There can be multiple types. This one in specific is referring to the one in real life. So that could be things like your school math club or like an HMMT club. HMMT is a competition in high school that you guys can participate in. Math Counts Club. Math Counts Club was a really important thing for me personally, because going to those clubs and attending the sessions, having a peer group to discuss with and a teacher to provide problems with was really helpful for me. I remember going twice a week to Mr. Norse's class, a local teacher, and it really helped me solidify my math counts basics, which also launched me then into AMC. Having that kind of support structure is really important. So you guys should definitely try and find that if you can't. And for me, I'll talk about one more thing relating to this, which is if you don't have a math community, then try to create one. So in middle school, like I mentioned, I was really into Math Counts Club, and I was a big part of that. That really helped me a lot. But then after that, after Math Counts, there wasn't really much of a competition that there was that a group of people could work towards, because having the math counts competitions for us was a really great way to motivate us, continue to meet, have these goals, have a team aspect to it. So there are competitions that exist run by colleges such as the Harvard MIT Math Tournament, HMMT, the Princeton Math Tournament, PUMAC, etc. But it's hard to make clubs for these. So what I went out and did after many people from Oregon graduated was I revamped my own club back here in Oregon by teaching at local centers, trying to find new students. So this is something that you guys can also think about once you start becoming older in high school. How can you organize your own math club, make your own math club local to wherever you live? And having this community is really helpful, being either a student or a leader. I kind of have both perspectives of that now, and organizing as well as being a part of it has been really instrumental for me to keep myself motivated and have people to discuss with who are local. There are also math communities that you can find online, such as on AOPS and Discord, etc. But the in real life math communities, such as math clubs, HMT clubs, really have a different feel to them because you feel more connected to everybody. So in summary, try to find one of these clubs if you're in middle school for math counts, and try to create your own if you're older and you're in high school and you feel motivated to do something like that. So it's something really important. Competitions can feel isolating, like I said. So if it's just you, it's really great to have that community surrounding you.
And I just want to add on to something. Like, I used to be in A, but now I'm in D. So for all of you guys who are in A right now, I just want to say to you that, like, you're not alone, and you will find people who are just like you, who are just as excited as you. And like, look at here, like the fact that we're all here together makes my heart so warm. So thank you guys for coming.
Oh, can I also add something? So like last year, our math team was also like B. It was just a handful of people. But then this year, after advertising, we found that like a lot of people just didn't know this club existed because we had really bad advertising. And like now our math team, like the people in the Google Classroom tripled. So like if you feel lonely, I mean, you could like try getting your friends interested or something, because like they might just be interested and want to join.
Yeah.
And then you can work on contest problems together. So yeah.
Maybe I'll just jump in after what Caroline said. So like Caroline said, finding the right people and doing good advertisement is really important. So if you have, for me, I was able to recruit students by going to a local teaching center where a lot of the new students kind of congregated, where the new Math Counts Club was. So try to find opportunities like that. Don't just put it out there on one post, maybe on AOPS or on your some account and just expect people to show up. You really have to go out and find people, put yourself in that place where, you know, you are really trying to find people. And if you're in the spot of a participant trying to find a math club, then don't feel shy. You know, it's really going to be a great experience. You can always not come if you don't like it, but it's a really great experience. And one thing, going back to the amount of time spent on math, which is kind of unrelated, but it's important to spend time on math by yourself, but also it's really fun to solve problems with other people, which is where the community can come in. So that kind of adds on to this point as well.
Just like add a bit onto that. Like if you want to like find people to solve problems with, both like online and offline. Online it's always like Discord, AOPS, those communities, and offline like in real life. Even like just getting a handful of friends together, solving problems together is always a very fun experience, and I definitely recommend doing it. And I guess like this also like ties back into like Ram's story. Or like if you can also like go to math certain math camps, and they also offer like in-person, in real life experiences with other people that are amazing.
Yeah, for me, I have like another comment on like interscholastic math circles. I feel like as upperclassmen, it's really important to sort of, I guess, take care of the freshmen or just the newer members of your school's math team. Because for me, when I got into high school, all of the seniors and the juniors and even the sophomores, they treated me as like sort of a little brother. And I felt like they actually really cared for me. And that made me feel like that gave me motivation to continue doing math and try to sort of become as accomplished as they are. And I feel like, yeah, it's important to provide this sort of community, this sort of competitive and caring community for students that are new to your school's math team.
Thanks for that great advice, and just reminding everyone that like like math can be very communal, and that there's a lot of people that like math. So it's just about reaching out sometimes. That was great hearing from all of you and getting to hear from the audience, your experiences. So we'll have one more subtle transition if it loads, because slow Wi-Fi is the real scary villain of life. We're gonna subtly transition, or not, into the last section of our campfire stories. So we'll jump to Jeff. So we have 3 photos of Jeff. You'll go ahead and vote for which story that you'd like to hear, and Jeff will go ahead and share his campfire story.
Okay, so looks like the polls are pretty even. Oh, number 3 breaking the lead.
Oh man, I can't vote.
Okay, so it looks like number 3. Okay, yeah, so number 3 is won. Okay, so this picture, if you can see the computer screen, it is my mob acceptance letter. And so this picture is actually taken by my school newspaper, and they wanted to put the fact that I made mob onto their website, so that's why this picture was taken. But the story goes, so it was during virtual school, and I just came out of PE class, so I was just like chilling by a computer, not really doing much. And then so then I got a Discord message from a good friend saying how he made mob, and he showed me the letter. So as of course I started reloading my email, because I wasn't sure how I did on the USMO, and I was a bit nervous that I either made it or didn't make it. So what was actually interesting though was that friend, he got his email 2 minutes early than most other people. So I was really nervous for those 2 minutes because I thought I didn't make mob the entire time. So I just kept refreshing my email over and over until I just saw a notification that you have 1 new email from MAA, and it just said that I was invited to mob. So right at that moment, I started screaming as loud as possible. And luckily, I was not in a Zoom call because that would have been bad. But unluckily, my parents heard it, and they thought that that something was happening, something bad was happening. So they rushed downstairs, and I kept screaming, and they couldn't really get me under control. So after around like 5 minutes or so, I was finally able to tell them that I made mob, and they were pretty happy. And they also they also were okay with me screaming for the next 10 minutes straight. Yeah, and after that, I just was very happy. The school newspaper contacted me, and then this is how we got the picture up. So, yeah.
That's a great story. I love that story. Okay, and so we have one more campfire story from our panelists, Andrew. So go ahead and vote for which story you'd like to hear the most from Andrew.
Oh, I'm seeing a lot of number 2. All right, it's evening out a little bit, but I still think number 2 is going to take the win here. Let's give it a few more seconds. Oh yeah, okay. So it seems like people want to hear the story behind number 2. So if you look at the picture, this is the awards ceremony for the year I went to Math Counts Nationals. It's me on the right, the rightmost student at least, with other members of the California team. And yeah, this was a while ago, I think 2 years ago, so I don't exactly remember all the details crystal clear, but I do remember that Math Counts Nationals was certainly a very, very, very interesting and sort of eye-opening experience. Because first of all, for me, like you all know that I come from California, and like going to nationals from California is sort of like winning the lottery. Because if you look at the results, like from like, say like 3rd place to like 20th place, it's like 43, 43, 42, 42, 42, 42. So if you like lose 1 point, you can drop like more than 15 places in ranking. So first of all, for me, I just felt really overwhelmed. I felt really overwhelmed to be there. It wasn't like I felt like I didn't deserve to be there, but it was just like, I felt like so many other people could have been there too. So it was a lot of pressure for me. In the end, at nationals, I didn't do very well in the first round. I got 15 on the sprint round, which is it was actually pretty disastrous, but I pulled myself back in the target round, and I still ended up placing decently individually. But the highlight here is that as a team, California ended up placing third. So yeah, I was really proud of that. Again, in the picture, you see me standing with my 3 other California teammates. On the left, the 2 are Eric and Alan, and I actually met up with them at MOP this year. So it's just nice to see everybody again. And also, yeah, another part about the Math Counts Nationals experience that really impacted me was meeting all of the contestants from other states. For example, I remember meeting Jeff and Ram at Math Counts Nationals. And it's all just sort of crazy how we're still connected right now, and we still talk to each other, and we're still in the same math competition circle. So yeah, that's sort of the background behind this photo.
Yeah, funny thing actually, I remember eating lunch with Ram, and I didn't actually realize it was him back then, but now I realize that since I remember eating with the Oregon team, so that's always cool.
Yeah, I actually remember Jeff and Andrew now, and one well, not now, I remember a long time ago now, but I remember one funny thing with Andrew was there was something called pin trading, which is a really fun aspect at national competition where you sort of exchange pins. It's just a fun thing, and Andrew's team was being a little stingy with their pins. But
Yeah,
the main point of this is that competitions can be a very social experience, and they can bring people together. And like Andrew and Jeff were saying, you can still stay in contact with people for a long time. So going to these competitions, even not at the highest levels, or whatever level or local competitions, they're really great ways to connect with peers and keep contacts that would, stay for a long time. So that's sort of the main takeaway from these experiences.
I just remember having to give 5 Illinois pins for 1 California pin.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
a 10 for me, but yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize for whatever your experience may have been at Nats with pin trading. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a great story that it shows also like it's really easy to connect with people and it brings people together, and we have a little mini reunion here. And so we're going to have this is going to be our last subtle transition. Thank you for being here and hearing the stories of our panelists. I know that you can't wait. I know we already have a few questions that you guys want to ask, but we want to thank you for being here and listening and answering questions and being a really supportive and engaging audience. We hope you stay connected with us with future events and everything AMC related. You can follow AMC Math on social media to see what's happening. You can email amcinfo@maa.org with any questions that you might have if you don't get to ask them now, or you have anything you want to ask the panelists or just questions about the AMC, or you can go to maa-amc.org to find more stuff about community and events and spaces specifically for students like practice. So I'll give a second of that, and I think this is the part that you all have been waiting for the most, is our Q&A session. So go ahead and get ready to ask our panelists here any questions that you may have. So go ahead and type in your questions in the chat. Everyone on the panelists can see, and then we'll start picking questions and answering them.
Wait, so Maryam, does every panelist see the answers? Because people should make sure to message all panelists then, or can they only message one panelist?
They should be able, so if you message the chat, I'll go to all the panelists. So everyone should be able to see. Unless you want to open the chat and have everyone be able to see everyone's questions. I know Vivian is a very strong advocate for opening the chat.
I don't think we can see everyone's questions. Does any other panelist here see?
I can't see them, so we might open the chat for everyone.
I'm gonna go ahead and open the chat up.
Yes. If you had any questions that you entered to any of the panelists, just please re-enter them so we can all see.
Sorry for exposing you, Vivian. I just wanted to support your cause.
Yes,
So the chat is officially open. Go ahead and add your questions in again. All the panelists will be able to see them now.
I'm getting a lot of hellos. So hello, everyone.
Hello back.
Annika has a fun question of, do the panelists like chess?
Yes. As for me, like I really like chess. I'm not that good at it though, so I will probably not be able to beat most people in the Zoom call. But I really like to play chess, especially Ultra Bullet, which is chess, but you only have 15 seconds during the entire game. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I can't say that I enjoy playing chess, but I would say that I know a lot of people that like doing math and also like playing chess. That's all I'll say.
One question I see in the chat is, how do you get better at competition math when you are someone who does well in school math but is struggling in competition math? So this is a really great question, because school math is a great way to get started with math. With competition math, there are really good books you can refer to learn, work through them. They're really, interactive books in the sense that it gives you a clear pathway of what to do. It's not just overload of information. So the Art of Problem Solving Volume 1 book, Art of Problem Solving Introduction to Series are really great ways to take that transition from school math to the basic AMC level, AMC 8, AMC 10, which are competitions run by the MAA. And those are really great ways to continue. So AOPS books would be a great recommendation to improve at competition math.
Wait, yellow mop was a thing?
I'm not aware of this.
Okay, so question, how do you get into MOP? So you have to get into MOP by taking the AMC series. So it starts with the AMC 10 and 12, and if you do well on that, you get to qualify for the AMI. The next, you have something called your USIMO or JMO index, and this is your AMC 10 or 12 score plus 10 times your AMI score. And depending on what this is, you might be invited to take either the JMO or the USIMO. And then the top scorers on both contests will be invited to MOP.
Yeah, okay. I see someone asking, how can you prepare for AMI? This is actually a very good question. It's also a pretty broad question. But for me personally, what I did was, this might sound really like common sense-ish, but I just did all of the past AMI problems up until like 2000. And after I ran through that, I looked through the HMMT archives and started doing HMMT November problems. And once I ran out of HMMT November problems, I started doing HMMT February problems. So basically, in summary, grind problems. If you don't know how to do them, read the solution. If you don't understand the solution, then I guess skip that problem for now, because it's probably way too hard at the moment. So sort of just as you do problems, you get better. And you might want to come back to problems that you didn't know how to solve before, and you might know how to solve them later.
Oh yeah, here's a tip that's like common sense-ish. Don't spend 1 hour doing one AMI problem, because I did that this year and I regretted it. So like you have to, like at some point you have to kind of skip and then later come back, like work on other problems. Don't spend 1 hour on one problem.
One question. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Victoria asked, is it ever too late to start competition math?
I was just going to say one, so go ahead, Lucy.
If so, how long should I be spending per week to begin? The answer is no. It's never too late to start competition math. And the reason is we are all under 18. It's never too late to start anything. So also like beyond 18, it's still never too late. The earliest time is now. So that's my answer to that question. And I also had the same question when I was like 3 years ago, or 5 probably, actually. I'm not realizing how old I am. So how many hours per week? I think it's just like the amount you can do to really focus and think about each problem thoroughly. Like it's never about the count. Like I know this answer is very frustrating, but it's really about like how much energy you put into it and not like how much time.
Yeah, one question I see, which I think is pretty interesting, is by Carolyn Cow. How do you counter the pressure of older siblings being good at math? That's a really great question. My brother also did a bunch of the AMC track stuff. So I kind of have some experience with that. He was also a Fireside panelist a few months ago, I think. And yeah, so it's definitely something that is common. Just, I guess the thing would be, you don't always have to do the exact same thing as your family, friends, siblings, things like that. Find your own path. And I know that sounds pretty cliche, but it can be hard to always try and, feel the pressure of having to do that, but really try and, as you get older, figure out what you like to do. And many people have turned out completely fine. Everybody does. It's not like this pressure is going to kill you. Just try and find what you like to do, and you don't really need to feel that you have to always do a certain thing just because your family or friends are doing it. So it can be hard, but try to find what you like to do, and that shouldn't be affected by what your family, friends, siblings like to do.
So I see a question by Julian Ho. When you reach high school, there's many competitions for other subjects. What keeps you guys motivated in staying competitive math? For me, it's difficult to find extra time to study for one competition and then multiple including extra exams. So for me, I think I said this in my intro, but I just really like to solve difficult math problems. Like they're math problems in general, they're just some of my favorite problems to solve because, well, like there's sort of like a puzzle where you have to like reason everything out and just figure it out, I guess. So yeah, I know like how like there are many like other things responsibilities you have to do, like school is one thing, and like maybe like you do sports or music or stuff like that. So I guess I just stay motivated in competitive math by well, I do recognize that those responsibilities do exist, but I still just like to do math so much that I would rather do math than those other things, I suppose. But yeah, I guess like another thing is like just finding time to do math, especially like in your free time. Instead of like thinking like maybe I'm going to play this game, I would rather like think that I'm going to solve this math problem. And I guess that's just what motivates me to continue.
Just adding on to that, like this kind of ties back to our discussion about community. I think having a group of friends who like have the same or similar goals or passions as you, that can really help. And like one thing my friends and I do is like, so I attend the boarding school, so we have like after dinner, we just go to the library and just do math. We have an hour of like blocked time where we just work on math. So that really helps us to not get distracted no matter how much homework we have, or just like procrastinate because, after dinner, you're tired and you're kind of sleepy, but that just helps us to get really focused and like sort of like motivate and keep each other in check. And like one funny thing is like one time I didn't go to the meeting and my friends sent me a very long email in the exact format that the school would send us if we were to have an unexcused absence. So yeah, having a group of friends, I think is my answer to the question.
Oh, I saw a good question asking how to not be nervous during math contests. Honestly, I myself struggle with this. So do any of you have a good answer to that question?
I mean, I guess like to not be nervous. Well, for like not the math competition, I don't affect that much stuff. I just think, well, it's just gonna be a fun competition. I might as well try it out. If it doesn't work out, then too bad. But if it does, then yippee. For like more serious competitions, like I guess like AMC series, especially like USMO, I was pretty nervous about that. What I generally like to do beforehand is just like take a walk, breathe in and out, relax a bit, and I also recommend like eating like fruits, especially oranges, which calm me down a lot. And I guess like during the test, I'm more focused on like solving the problems instead of like thinking about how nervous I am. So just like once like you get into like get into the zone where you're like more focused on the problems, it's harder to become nervous, and it helps like that.
Yeah, for me, I think a strategy I use to sort of not become nervous before a test is like the day or two before the competition, I just stop doing math and then I go out and talk with like friends or something, and I just like completely throw math out of my brain. And the day of the contest, I usually like it comes back to me and I'm like refreshed. So I end up doing better in the contest and I don't feel nervous. So I don't know why it works, it just does. So you might want to try that out to see if it works for you.
One question I see, which is really important, which I struggled a lot with, was how to stay motivated after getting rejected. The particular example this person gives is every boarding school and math summer camp I apply to. This can apply to a lot of math things, math competitions, math summer camps you apply to. You might not do as well as you expected, not get in. And early on when I started competitions, it was really hard for me to deal with that because one, I was pretty young and it was hard for me to deal with this kind of like very small adversity. If you think about it, like, I don't even remember a lot of these competitions at this point, but at that time it felt like a really big deal that I wasn't doing as well. And it does take a lot of time. So don't feel like you immediately have to jump back into competition math or whatever else you're applying to. Math summer camps, those require applications. Just take a break for a while and try to build yourself back together and try and continue preparing. You're already much better prepared. The way to think about it, at least the way I did, was you're much better prepared now than before you started preparing, even though you didn't get in. So if you keep building on that, then you might have a better chance. And sometimes there are competitions where you don't have another chance. But in that case, just try and think about what you learned from that. And I don't really have a good answer for that when you don't have time left for certain competitions. But if you do have time left, another year, another month, things like that, try to keep preparing.
I'll add on to that. As someone who got rejected from boarding schools and camps, I think like another thing, maybe you could like look back through your application materials and like look at the things that you could have done better and like use that to kind of improve yourself. Like it'll probably make you sad because like you're going to think about the rejection. But like I had a friend go through like all my materials and I'm like, oh my God, I'm really bad at writing proofs. So like, then you can like improve on yourself and maybe next year you'll get in.
Yeah, and also adding on to that, I think it's like helpful to remind yourself that everything, there's like luck involved. So nothing is like, so maybe you didn't do well on AMC. That doesn't mean that you're bad at math. It just means you didn't do well on this year's AMC. You'll try again next year. And also, like, I think this also ties back to a question about what if my younger siblings does better than me. So I think like math is like a marathon. It's never, I know AMC can feel like it's a short distance race, but in the long term, like just think of it broadly. You love math and you enjoy doing it, and that's what matters. AMC helps you find your community and help you find a way to learn more math. But in the long term, it's about building this passion and just learning more.
I want to add on to that a little more. Sometimes it's easy for me to trick myself into saying, oh, I'm only doing this for the competitions and I only want to participate in these to do well. And over time, I kind of expanded the things that in math that you can do. So this is something you can do beyond competitions. As you get older, you can try and get into research and other math things like math summer camps. And there are multiple pieces of math outside competitions where you don't always have to feel that binary pressure of, oh, you either did well or you didn't. And that's also something you guys can get into.
There's a question from AG who says, today's event is great. How do I find more events like this? I'm so happy to hear this question. I think Maryam has more insight into this one.
Yeah, thanks for getting that question, Lucy. So MAA-AMC.org, I'll type it into the chat again. That's probably where you'll find all events like this. We've had previous Fireside chats, and we do plan to have more events for you guys. So they will be posted in the community section. So you can definitely go check that out. And it's our Empowered website. And so you'll find a lot more than just events on Empowered, including practice and resources. So definitely be sure to check it out and join our mailing list so you can get emails every time we do have an event.
And do you know when our next Fireside chat will be, Maryam, or is that not planned right now?
Thing to be determined, but definitely we do have a lot of stuff upcoming.
Yeah. really enjoyed being a part of this event and interacting with everyone. So I'm really glad you guys showed up.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
awesome.
me too.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
I see a lot of discussion about like guessing and skipping problems on AMCs. I would say like, yeah, for 10 and 12, don't guess unless like you can eliminate 2 or 3 choices, because then the expected value of your score is above 0. And like if you can't do a problem, like because AMCs are based on speed, if you get stuck on a problem for like maybe 3 minutes or something and you can't figure out how to do it, then skip and then come back later, because like you have a greater because if you're stuck on this problem, there's always other problems that you might be able to solve in less time. Also, like, don't completely ignore problems 21 to 25, because sometimes they're like easier than expected. And also on AMC 8s, maybe just leave it blank, I think, and then like come back later. And if you still can't figure out something, then guess, because you're not penalized.
Yeah, I see like some talk about leaving stuff blank on the AMC 10. So the way it works is that if you leave a blank, you get 1.5 points, and if you answer correctly, you get 6 points. So in general, like if you have no idea which one it is, you should not be guessing, because that only gives an expected value of 1.2 points, where you could get expected value of 1.5 points if you leave it blank. But if you narrow it down to like 3 or less choices, then the expected value of the number of points you get goes way up. So if you narrow it down to 3 or less, you should probably guess it. And there's actually something interesting that I remember reading about, where it's like if you want to maximize your 10A and 10B score, or 12A and 12B, then you should always guess, because the expected value of the maximum of that score would actually be greater than 1.5. But if you want to like just do the best in each contest, then you should not be guessing if you have not narrowed it down for any of the choices.
Wait, also I think another time when like guessing is okay, like if you're shooting for AMI qualification, then like you're calculating and you're missing a few points if you leave all of the problems you can't do blank, maybe in that time it's okay to guess, because like if you're not, this is just my personal opinion, people might like disagree, but I think you can like just go ahead and start guessing in that case, because if you don't guess, you don't really have a chance at AMI, and if you do guess, you might get in, but people might disagree. So
one final thing I see about the AMC actual test. So one thing that helped me a lot was math counts, because it's very speed focused. So speed and accuracy would be the main 2 things you should improve at. Speed, accuracy first, then speed. So I spent a lot of time going through AMCs, more than 75 minutes, which is the allotted time initially, trying to get everything. I think this was a really good strategy, and then try to slowly build that time down to, the amount of time you have for the contest. So it's accuracy first, and then speed second would be my suggestion, because if you're going through the problems real fast and getting them wrong, on the AMC, that's really bad, because you're losing 6 points compared to leaving it blank, where you only lose 1.5. So accuracy first, build that up by going slow, finishing every single problem, and then speed would be secondary.
Yeah, also to answer someone's question on how to improve speed on the AMC, for me, what I've been doing is that sometimes I just take the first 15 problems of an AMC 10 and try to run through it in 30 minutes, because I feel like, especially for the AMC 10 and 12, if you just get the first 15 questions and make sure they're all correct, and you leave a little bit of time to work on the rest, you're still going to end up with, say, like an above 110 score, and usually that leaves you significantly above the AMI cutoff. And even like if you're aiming for, say, 120 plus, it's still great to work on the first stretch of the test and make sure that you're comfortable with that bit, and leave a lot of time for the rest of the problem. So I think 1 through 15 is especially important to work on.
And yeah, AMCs are coming up pretty soon, just a few weeks now. So make sure you're getting in as much preparation as you can, and keep asking us questions if you can. If you feel like you have any other questions at this email address, and that'd be a great way to continue preparing.
Yeah, so like good luck to all of you on the AMCs that are coming soon.
let's see if there's more questions.
So I see a question, how to achieve the AMC 10/12 DHR. Strictly speaking, the DHR is a distinguished honor roll, and that's awarded to top 1% of participants in the AMC 10 or 12. And to achieve this, well, I mean, you have to score within the top 1%. And I guess if you want to do this, like you have to study a lot of math, you become like proficient in AMC topics and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of questions coming in through the chat now, so
Yeah, I think
mhm. Yeah, so I guess thanks to everyone for coming. This
Yeah.
is a really good experience for all of us as panelists as well.
Yeah, I love meeting all of you guys. It was amazing.
We hope you enjoyed.
and we'll let you know about further events and stay in touch on make sure you're stay tuned on AOPS and email for more announcements on such events.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you.
All right.
Thank you all for joining. If you have any questions, again, you remember later, you can email AMC info and we'll make sure we get your question to the panelists. And we hope you stay connected.
Have a great afternoon, evening, or
And
morning.
good luck on AMCs,
Look
everyone.
on AMC.
Yeah, good luck. I wish you the best.
And don't forget to have fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Should we stick around for a bit, the panelists, just in case we want to?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
read
if
my
anyone
mind.
has more questions, I guess you can ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're always down.
Mhm.
So we'll definitely still be here for a few minutes. So again, feel free to ask any more questions or share your thoughts.
Okay, maybe these people are AFK. A lot of these people. I
think they're AFK.
So maybe we'll just like remove.
Or use
Wait,
them
I'm not gonna remove
in the chat.
we can answer these questions.
Yeah.
My school is making me take AB Calc before BC Calc. Is it worth taking both classes? I think this question you might get more information if you like ask an upperclassman at your school, because we don't know what your school's curriculum is like, so we can't really.
Yeah,
say.
I relate to that because my school also didn't let me take Calc BC and I had to take AB first, and they don't make any exceptions. So I guess like if like you can't do anything, I guess you can only deal with it. I know that's a pretty bad answer, but
You might like also like talk to the school a bit. Like I know my school, they were pretty insistent on me for me to take algebra 2, but there's actually there's a change in like the leadership for like the math department, and then the new chair let me skip the algebra 2 class. So it might be worth talking with your school about it.
Yeah, definitely advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
What math classes are you taking in school right now? As I mentioned, I'm taking combinatorics, but I'm doubling math actually. I'm also taking multivariable calculus. What about you guys?
I'm doing just Calc BC.
Yeah, I'm also doing Calc BC.
Yeah, for my school, we have like this weird math curriculum. So I'm taking like mathematics seminar, which is like we're technically learning about linear algebra right now. So that's the topic I'm learning about.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, okay, like no more questions coming in. I'm guessing most people are probably, oh, we have one more question.
What books should I buy if I want to start taking AMC 10? I think a good place to start would be the AOPS Intro to X books. Like, for example, Introduction to Algebra, Introduction to Combinatorics, and Introduction to Geometry and Introduction to Number Theory. And if you want to like prepare for AMC quickly, I guess AOPS Volume 1 is also really good. So yeah, I think that's a good place to start. Mhm.
Okay, I guess we'll end it here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
intermediate AOPS.
Intermediate.
oh,
Pre-calculus is pretty good. I used that. And my
Honestly, I
AIME
think
score
sorry.
got a lot better.
Yeah. For me though, I think like honestly, to do really well on AME, just doing the AOPS books is not enough. Like, of course, I think like it's pretty much recommended that you do intermediate algebra, intermediate counting probability, intermediate. I think there's a course on AOPS for intermediate number theory and also volume 2. But I think the most important part is still taking the time by yourself to work through all of the past year's problems and trying to understand at least say 75% of them. Mhm.
Thanks, guys, for your questions.
yeah, we
Yeah. We
appreciate it.
enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, it was a nice experience.
It was
talking to you
awesome.
guys. Yeah, I think that's it. There's no more questions, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, well, definitely let's start wrapping up. Thank you to our
Thanks, Raymond.
panelists.
Thanks, Raymond.
Thanks, Raymond.
Thank you, Maryam and Nicole as well.
Yeah, thank you, Maryam and Nicole.
Yeah, so thank you for our panelists for being so open. Thank you, Raymond, for being here, just because for being here, and everyone else for being here and asking your questions. Again, if you have any questions that we haven't gotten to, please email them. But I think this is a good wrap up, and we hope you join us for future stuff, future events.